Hey, so in this video we'll be doing the Easter eggs and prediction for season 1, episode 9 of Marvel's WandaVision. So beware spoiler, not caught up. So the episode's title was called the series finale. So it's obviously the series finale, so it's not gonna come back for a second season. So yeah, so we start off the episode basically right where the last episode left off. Wanda's uh and Agatha are going to have a battle and whatnot. Uh, and Wanda ends up throwing a car at Agatha, similar to how she threw cars at Tony or in Civil War. So it's a callback there. She one of the car does end up hitting Agatha because she was caught off guard, and she was chucked into a house, and it was framed similar to the Wicked Witch of the East in Wizard of Oz, how her boots were underneath the house in that movie. So yeah, but Agatha mentioned basically teases uh, at Wanda that saying that your ex and your boyfriend at the same party, referring to the fact that White Vision was the original uh, Vision that ended up dying and then has been resurrected, and having Vision in the Hex, her current boyfriend, being in the same room. So yeah, that was kind of interesting. They Agatha does mention that the book that she does have, I did mention it a couple of times this show, but in this series, that the that I thought the Darkhold would pop up in the show, and it turned out that Agatha's book in the previous episode that I wanted not to be the Darkhold turned out to be the Darkhold because it looked very different from the Agents of Shield, and I preferred that one's look than this one because it looks kind of weird to me, but go with it. So yeah, but apparently there's a chapter in the Darkhold all about Wanda and her how she can do all this magic without actually being trained or whatever. Uh, and apparently she's more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme, as in Doctor Strange. So that's going to be very interesting since this show leads into Doctor Strange's Multiverse of the Madness. So I wonder exactly how that relationship's going to go since she's more powerful than him. Uh, and we find out in this episode that who Agnes's husband is, and a lot of people are mad at the reveal. I'm indifferent with it. Like, sure, it was a funny joke to me and whatnot. It would have been cool if it turned out to not be that joke, but uh, we find out that Evan Peters' Pietro, fake Pietro, actually is uh, named Ralph Boner, and Agnes just took over his house, so that's where Agnes's husband's Ralph comes from. So yeah, but we see in this episode similar to how the previous episode a couple of episodes ago where the hex glitches and shows previous like objects. So we saw like when Wanda was taking down the hacks, we saw previous billboards of like I forgot what they were selling, but we saw billboard the billboards. We saw the different movies, and one of them was actually uh Oz the Great and Powerful, which is actually a prequel to Wizard of Oz, which I mentioned earlier, like because of the Wicked Witch of the East. But also, I didn't mention it. I don't think I mentioned it in a previous episode because that this actually did pop up. I believe it was in episode three's intro. But uh, Oz the Great and Powerful actually was directed by Sam Raimi, which is the director of Doctor Strange Multiverse in the Madness, and this show connects to that movie, so it's kind of a sneaky little reference there. So yeah, we saw different movie titles and stuff like that from previous episodes, and later on, We see that again with the after the hex is actually being taken down, and it starts infecting Wanda's house. We saw all the different decades glitching. So yeah, but we have this Incredibles version standoff with the the family getting ready for battle. So it's possible that it was a reference to that because uh, we had uh, we did have that Incredibles reference a couple episodes ago in the Halloween episode. So having a superpower team getting ready for battle in that same like uh, stance kind of could be a reference to that, especially considering the powers that they were exhibiting. Whereas Dash would be speed in here. Wanda was actually had a like blocked used her powers as like a force field, which would be Violet's powers, and so it would be kind of like that. But even though they don't have Elastigirl and Mister Incredible's powers, but it's kind of like that, kind of a reference, I guess, to that too. But yeah, we have I don't know if it was intentional or not, but Speed ends up running around, taking out the sword uh, people that were coming in and came in to stop, like that was trying to stop Wanda. And at the end of the like him taking out the Speed taking out the sword agents, he ends up having a scene being wearing a hat and glasses, which is very similar to when uh, Quicksilver in the X-Men Days of Future Past movie actually does the exact same thing, where he ends up taking a hat from one of the guards in his scene that he had. So it's a possible that reference to that because we have Evan Peters uh, from that from the X Men movies. It's possible it's a reference to that. I don't know if it is, but yeah. Then you have Hayward trying to shoot at the twins, and Monica comes in to protect them, and we find out that she's technically bulletproof because the bullets end up going to through her, which is actually uh, shown very similar to how it is in the comics with her powers, where the bullets do end up going through her. So yeah, but we have this like debate whether who is the real Vision, is the Hex Vision the real Vision, or the the vision the White Vision the real Vision, and talking about the ship of Theseus or something like that, where they uh, you rebuild it. An old ship is rebuild with new parts. And is it actually the real ship the from the before it actually was restored and whatnot? I That's the best explanation I can actually talk right now. But yeah, we have Vision actually the Hex Vision restore uh Vision White Vision's memories from all of his past experiences from Age of Ultron, Civil War, Infinity War. So yeah, but we don't know where he goes, but he shoots off somewhere. Uh, most likely gonna see him. We're gonna see him again at some point. I don't know when, but yeah. Uh, and it, going back to that, it kind of interesting because we saw in previous episodes where Vision actually could bring back people's memories with Norm and what uh, Darcy. So having Vision restore White Vision's memories, it's kind of interesting because that's what his powers uh, he could do in the hex. So yeah, and then we see uh, Ma- Agatha, Agatha trying to find out where Wanda is, and Wanda ends up sneaking behind her very quickly, behind her, and ends up mind controlling her. Very similar to how we were introduced to her in Age of Ultron, where she ends up taking out, like mind controlling, uh, mind controlling Tony, and making him think that the Chitauri is going to attack him, and having all the people dead on all his whole entire team dead on the floor, and her actually being quick, like very quick, and like how I don't know, like how fast she was going is also what how she appeared in Age of Ultron after mind controlling Tony, where she actually like quickly left that room. So it's most likely a reference to that as well. So yeah, but we find out that uh, uh, in a bit after this, actually, I just wrote down in a different order, but because it was because it was a rewatch when I was writing these notes down. But we find out that uh, Wanda is a very quick learner because she actually uses the same trick that Agatha used in the previous episode with Wanda, with the runes and whatnot, saying that you cannot use your magic in a given space that uh, the witch cast the runes. So uh, Agatha has no powers at the hex at that time. But before it was revealed, we see that Agatha is trying to drain her powers, for and take her powers, and Wanda's starting to like decay, I guess. Uh, and it's very similar to the yogurt motion, like claymation commercial a couple of episodes ago in the Halloween episode, where the shark came and said, "I snack on your magic, snack on your magic," and the little boy starts decaying to like the dead, to like a dead person, and here you have Wanda's powers being drained by Agatha. So Agatha would be the shark in this scenario where she's draining Wanda's powers and making her look decayed. So yeah, but we had a little bit of a hint to it in Agatha's like fear, I guess. I Even though it turned really bad on Wanda there, where Wanda's actually comic book head headgear popped up on her head, like popped up for a few seconds in the dream or nightmare, but after uh, Agatha finds out that she was tricked by Wanda, Wanda ends up transforming, becoming the Scarlet Witch that was destined, and she ends up getting a new costume, which is the her costume from the comic book costume from the yeah her comic book costume. Uh, and someone actually found a little cool detail which actually gets referenced later on, but on her like neck area, neck area, uh, you see like a little design like right in the middle, where it actually looks very similar to the Mind Stone, which is part of Vision, a part of how she got her and how she got her powers and stuff like that. And I'll talk about that later on. But uh, we have like this like cute little scene with Wanda and her kids hugging, which again is very similar to a comic book panel I don't exactly know why they were hugging and looked really sad, but the way that they were framed with Wiccan on one side and Speed on the other, it's very similar to how it's depicted in the comics. So it's could be a reference to that. So we have Vision and Vision and Wanda coming uh, to like uh, a realization that she cannot have this hex anymore. That they have Vision and the boys have to go, and Wanda has to say goodbye and stuff like that. So they end up going to their house, back to their house. They tuck the boys in, and Vision is talk. Vision was wondering exactly uh, who who he is and whatnot, and he says that I I was a voice with no body, referring to the fact that he was an AI when we first met him from uh, uh, the first Iron Man until Age of Ultron, and then it has said a body but no, not human, talking about the Vision, body, and that synthetic android body that Tony created from Age of Ultron until Infinity War, that when he died. And then he says, and now a memory made real, talking about the fact that Wanda somehow created this new Vision, Hex Vision, just from memory. So yeah, but like I said, that her costume, like I said, the Scarlet Witch costume that she has now has like a shape of a Mind Stone, and Wanda actually says that uh, he Vision is a piece of the Mind Stone that lives in me, in her, or like in she says in me, referring to herself. So having that little symbol there is a little piece of a reminder of Vision. So it's a kind of little cute thing there, and that actually ends the whole entire series. Besides the post credit scenes, and the post credit scene the first one was dealing with Monica, and there you see Jimmy, clean Jimmy ordering the FBI agents around, uh, and Monica's told to go to the theater, and this is where she meets a squirrel. It's not the squirrel that she actually was friends with in Captain Marvel, which it could have been, but I highly doubt it because they would have probably mentioned it. But the squirrel mentions that she has an old friend, uh, a mutual friend that wants to talk to her, and the squirrel points up to space, referring to the fact that she's talking about Nick Fury, because in the post credit scene of Spider-Man: Far From Home, we actually see that Nick Fury is in space with a bunch of squirrels. We don't exactly know what he's doing there, but since this movie takes place before, or the show took place before that post-credit scene in Spider-Man: Far From Home, it's a little connection there. So yeah, we don't know when she's gonna pop up again with Nick Fury, but we know that she's gonna be in Captain Marvel 2. I don't know if they're gonna show exactly why she was talking to Nick Fury, but yeah, at some point, uh, we're gonna see them together. So yeah, the second one was nothing really important, really, like Easter eggs or references, other than like we see that Wanda is secluded herself in the mountains. People are saying that it's could be the Wonder Gore Mountains from the comics, and that ties to Chthon, like I mentioned couple of times in this uh, couple of times in my predictions area. So yeah, but she's secluded herself in a cabin in the mountains or whatever, and we see that she actually's mastered a trick that Doctor Strange mastered in his movie, the projection. But here she's actually like actually awake doing this. So she's actually chilling, drinking coffee, whatnot. But in the back of her cabin, we actually see her astral projection actually reading the Darkhold, which is a very scary thought for Wanda, because of like how uh, my mind works. Because it was in an Agents of Shield. I don't know if they're gonna show it how it works in that show, but the Darkhold isn't a really good thing to read. It does corrupt your mind. So having Wanda having be this much power, like having this much power, and now being reading the Darkhold is not really good news. But you actually have Wanda actually uh, hear one of the boys like calling out to her. So this is lead up to Wanda going into Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of the Madness. But I don't know if this actually intentional or not, but it did this scene where it was zooming into the cabin and we see where Wanda's living. It reminded me of the post-credit scene of, or I think it was just the ending of it, but the the Incredible Hulk, where he secluded himself and is trying to practice not actually raging out and like trying to control the Hulk for the first time. So it reminded me of that, where she's actually trying to control her magic and understand it and whatnot. So yeah, but for predictions, I've mentioned it a couple of times already in this episode or this video alone, but uh, Agatha actually mentions that you don't know what you have done, you don't know what you have unleashed to Wanda, and I'm assuming it is Cthulhu, whatever how to pronounce it, because like I've mentioned, that in the comics, Cthulhu has deep ties to the Darkhold because he's the creator of it, and he's actually has deep ties to Wanda, where he actually had given her the power, like the witch power she has, and in doing so was actually a way for him to corrupt Wanda, and so he could actually use her as a vessel to come into the real world. So having every this whole series lead up to the Darkhold being introduced in this show, and Wanda's connection to that, to Cthulhu and Cthon, whatever. I think he's going to be Doctor Strange Multiverse of the Madness. I don't know if it is because it's not confirmed, but I believe that would be the best bet for who could be the villain in that movie, because it ties to Wanda, and we know she's in that movie. So yeah. So comment down below if I missed any Easter eggs and references, and if you have any predictions for the upcoming like MCU in general, like for the TV shows, the movies, and stuff like that. So just comment down below. See ya.